Hello, it is Tegan with Upcycling Adventures, and today I have something a little different. I don't really have a tutorial, but instead I'm going to start the process of walking you through a different type of upcycling, and not even so much upcycling as renovating. You may have seen a couple posts ago, this thrifted wedding dress that I picked up for $5, which was an amazing deal. And I'm not going to upcycle it into something completely different. I'm going to reimagine the type of dress it could be. So that's what I'm actually doing. I'm not so much upcycling. It's not becoming something new or different, but I'm going to give it new life as a different type of dress. So first I'm going to tell you what I've been able to figure out about this particular wedding dress, and then I'm going to go into where I'm planning to start this process and what I'm thinking for this wedding dress. So, this wedding dress is Jessica McClintock Bridal, a brand that I don't think still exists. I'm pretty sure it's from the early 90s. When I was looking online trying to find other examples of this dress online, I couldn't really come up with very many. And I think one of the reasons is because this dress has been changed significantly, I think, from what it was initially. So I found the dress I think that this was initially, and it was in the early 90s. And I think, and once again, I don't really know, but my guesses are that it had kind of a puffed long sleeve based on the dress I think it's similar to online. So like a sleeve. And then also this dress has been cut to be short. It just is below the camera frame where the actual hem is. And I'm pretty sure it was long and had a very long train. So yeah, so that's some of the alterations that I think have happened to this dress. I'm not 100% sure on that. I just kind of am speculating based on what I've seen on the dress, what I've seen online, from the Jessica McClintock collections, from what I can gather online about them. And so that's, I think, the starting point of this dress. I think it was an early 90s wedding dress. And so yes, there's some elements of this dress that I was looking for when I was looking online. One is that there is a gigantic bow here. Ooh, well, I'm not going to unsnap it. It's huge. Low in the back with some beautiful lace detail, which you may not be able to see right there. I'll get some other shots for you. And also there is evidence, there's some buttons up in here, so there's evidence that there was some sort of bustling option or train, detachable train or something along those sorts, because there are some buttons hidden up in behind this bow, and maybe that's why they had such a big bow. I don't know. Anyway, there's a very large bow in the back. The only thing I have done to this dress since getting from the thrift store is I did very gently hand wash it and let it air dry, because it was from a thrift store. And so other details, there's this beautiful lace panel in the front with sequins and some pearl beading that's still in pretty great shape. I don't know if I'm going to keep that. We'll find out. I don't know for sure what I plan to do with that. And then, because there's some netting that goes to this V in the center behind it still, so I could theoretically take off that. There's also a crinoline, or I believe that maybe is the term, underneath here. Very scratchy, making it poof a bit. And yeah, it's a really, also this satin, this is all 100% synthetic. Nothing on this dress is a natural fiber. That I can tell, just based on reading the tag, it's pretty like, this is synthetic, no doubts on that. But for a synthetic, it feels decently nice, like it's not disgusting to touch or anything like that. And so yeah, in the pattern of this fabric, which hopefully I'll get some footage of that as well, it has a bit of a, there's kind of a white on white printing action happening on this satin. It's not woven in. It is, in fact, so it must be screen printed on top, is my guess on that. There's just some flowers, very, very bridal, like bouquet flowers. So that is this dress. So there you go. Now I'm going to tell you what I hope to do with this dress. First off, some of the things I'm planning on deconstructing are, I'm going to take out this. Like, I don't want to wear it with this. This is going to be horrible. I'm not doing that. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to take off the bow, which I kind of have mixed feelings about. Maybe I'll incorporate it in a different manner. I don't know. Like, but it's gigantic. Like, I'm not personally into the bow, especially for what I think I'm going to go for. And I am seriously still deciding, but debating on removing all of the lace on this front bodice. Not to be thrown out or anything, but maybe to reuse in a different way. And just kind of doing something different there. I like the lace details in the back. They're of a, I almost think that they were added on later. They have a very different feel than this lace. And sequin and pearl action. So that's one thing I'm thinking about doing. We'll see. But I think I could easily just go in there and seam rip, because I think it is actually stitched on. So that's something to the quality of this dress. And so some of the things I think I want to add to this dress, for sure some sort of sleeve element, and not just like a little cap. I'm thinking maybe long and flowy. I don't know. I want to add a sleeve. I'm also thinking about maybe a cape element or a capelet or something like that. I mean, this used to have a train. I feel like a cape is like a funner version of a train. I want to add I want to make the skirt have a longer, at least be longer in the back. Maybe still have the shorter bit, but I don't know. I want to add length to it in some way or form. I'm going to play around with that and see what I think will be good. I want to add layers. I want to be unconventional, kind of going for like a fantasy or fairy dress feel, because it's super fun, and why wouldn't you? And overall, what I've kind of come to as my inspiration for this wedding dress, especially since I didn't want to dye it. I didn't want to try and dye it synthetic, and I just didn't want to do that. So, kind of the phrase that I've put in my mind to think about this and pick out the colors that I want to go with on this dress, and the feel and the inspiration and the motivation behind what this recreation is going to be, is the idea of a winter's morning. Specifically in the Midwest, that's where I'm at, where it's clean, typically fresh snow, clean, cold, but the sunrise can be gorgeous with some beautiful colors. So just like white with hints of beautiful colors in there, and like fresh sparkles. And yeah, so one of the colors I think I'm going to bring into it a little bit, so purples and grays and blues and more whites and whatever I can find, right? But then also I have this really bright kind of coral salmon-y color that I'm actually really drawn to for this as well. So I may trim out some things in this, like that peak of a winter morning sunrise. So we shall see what actually ends up happening. But I thought I would share the whole process with you guys. So I'm going to try and do time lapse. We'll see how that goes. And then I'm also going to try and take breaks and kind of just talk to you like I have now about what I was thinking, what I want to do, what's going to work, what's not working, what am I going to change, what do I like, what do I not like, whatever. I'm just going to spill it all out to you guys, and maybe you'll watch. I don't know. So anyway, I'll take you along for the first part, the deconstruction, which I'm going to launch into here, and then we'll see where this dress takes us. Interestingly, as I was taking off the crinoline, it clearly was actually originally part of the dress, but they just hiked it up a bit higher. So they slashed it off just to put it on more up at the natural waist, where apparently it must have sat lower hips before. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, I have that off, and now I'm excited to see how it drapes differently without that underneath, because obviously it's going to look pretty different. It's going to look pretty different without that crinoline underneath. So we shall see. All right, I got the lace off the front, and it is looking a little sad under there. Obviously, I mean, you can still see where it was, and it is going to be, I'm going to have to put something behind here because it's going to be a bit low cut for my tastes without that. I mean, the netting is in great shape. I'm definitely going to leave that. But so yeah, I got that lace off, and it looks like a completely different dress in a lot of ways with that lace off. I mean, that lace was fine. It was nice, but I wanted to try something different. I did get it off in one piece, so I can reuse it in other things. So yeah. And then also has a very different shape without that crinoline, as you can see, which I am not hating at all. I liked the poof, but I think it's going to have really fun movement now without that crinoline, and it will be a lot more comfortable as well, because that crinoline is pretty harsh. Without a lining too. I mean, maybe the dress probably had some sort of other lining at some point. So yeah, of course, the big change is no bow, and it came off pretty easily, along with some of the buttons. So I did keep this lace detail because I really like this lace. I think it's really pretty. So I did keep that on. And yeah, so everything I took off right here. Some buttons, some hook and eyes, that lace. Which, yeah, it's really not like a horrible lace. At all. It's very pretty. But I'll just find a different way to utilize that probably. And then the bow, which also is not horrible. It's just gigantic and I wanted to do something different with this. So we'll see. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right.